Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome down to the awesome Matt Fryer.
The awesome.
Actually, I feel a bit uncomfortable saying that now. Matt's going to be talking us through a very, very difficult par 4, but we're going to be doing it purely on the basis of the average golfer distance. Okay, so we're on a 423-yard par 4, so I'm going to be trying to hit distances that the average golfer would hit, so we can talk through strategy of the hole, decision making and club selection.
Yeah, I think, sometimes it's easy for us to, just get, oh, well, we'll just blast driver down here, take the bunker out of play that's 250. And, for most of the viewers, the average golfer, 18 handicap, maybe a little bit higher, maybe new to the game, that's not an option. So we're saying, what, 210 to 220 off the tee, roughly?
Yeah.
Then your next sort of shot would be around about 190.
Yeah.
And sort of try, and obviously the clubs that Andy hits won't be the ones that you would hit, but we're trying to use those distances. So as we get onto the tee here, for me, and this is one of the big things that I've noticed around the fire course, unbelievable amount of bunkers.
Yeah.
They are everywhere.
They are everywhere.
So as we look down here, there's 2 bunkers, and as the average golfer, a lot of people just get suckered into, well, I'm on the tee, I'm getting driver out, I'll just wazz it down there, and don't take into account how far they are. So even just like a yardage thingy, or using your buggy to try and find out. For me, the one on the right looked the closest, and that's 250 to the front of it. So that's our troubled one. The next one's actually 300 yards down there. So it would be a case now of, well, I can go down the left-hand side because I'm not going to hit it 300 yards. I can't go too far to the right because you might creep into that one. We are downwind, so that's going to push the yardage a little bit further. So for you, it would be, obviously you're a little bit of a drawer of the golf ball, so maybe aiming middle and trying to move it a little bit left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely.
Would be the ideal place to go on this one.
In terms of leave, it's definitely down the left-hand side with the way the hole's shaped, with the way the undulations are from right to left as well. But like Matt said, we're slightly elevated from the bunker. It's slightly downwind, so if your average is a 220-yard drive, then that 250
10,
bunker
15,
is gettable. So just making sure that you are hitting drives to a point, because as soon as you hit a fairway bunker, especially, well, no matter where you are bringing in double bogey, because it's whether it's a chip out or a layup, and then the third shot becomes tricky as well. So we've got to avoid those sorts of errors at all costs.
Yeah, for me, when I'm on the tee now, one thing that I would suggest you do, and obviously accuracy is going to be a little bit of an issue if we are a slightly higher handicapper, but if you look down the hole and you say to yourself, well, if I were to draw a 30-yard circle, if I can get it somewhere in there, where's that safest point I can put that circle? For your tour pro, they're probably like trying to get it to a 10-yard one, and obviously depending on your level, you just make your circle the appropriate size and just place it down there. If you imagine drawing it out with a a chalk line or spray, and for us it's probably just creeping into the rough on the left and then down that left side of the fairway. So I'd pick a target in the distance, see the shot that you want to hit, and then from there just pull the trigger.
With the way I shape the ball and with the wind, I'm actually going to aim just on the left edge of the bunker, so in my mind I'm taking it out of play completely. I would always do my practice swings first, just to kind of, obviously the last shot I've hit was a putt on the previous green, so just to get the body moving again. And the last thing I do before approaching the ball is aim. Always aim. I see too many golfers kind of practice swings here, they all look great, but then shuffle in. And if you get the feet wrong, if people start looking at just the feet, then the club's going to follow. This is number one.
Face then body.
Face then body, always. So come in from behind the ball, pick a target in front of the ball. So I've gone just in front of a divot to the side of a divot. I'm lining that up first. Then I'm going to set my body to the club. So I've got this down the left edge of the right bunker. Pulled it, but it's fine.
Though, it's absolutely fine.
It was a 50-yard pull, but it's just down the left.
The good thing is there you've allowed for it, haven't you? Again, if you just came onto the tee willy-nilly, not aiming, just sort of say like shuffle in, hit that shot, you could end up somewhere where it's going to cost you. So target, draw that circle out on the fairway, and fine from there. Let's head down, see how we're going to get you up near the green. Right, so down into the rough. It's not too bad of a shot though, is it? You've got safely down here, and I think that's the main aim off a tee for your mid-handicapper, high handicapper, is just getting safely away, putting yourself in a position where it's not out of bounds, it's not in a water hazard, it's not in the jungle.
That's important for all of us.
Yeah, we can advance from here.
Yeah, exactly. So I've just zapped, the green is 200 yards away. So that would mean with where the bunker is very strategically placed, I will literally need a 200 yard carry, which is almost the same distance I've hit it off the tee with a driver and the pegged up ball. So that's not going to happen from this lie. Now, if I'd have got a hot one away and it's caught the fairway and rolled down there and it's maybe left me about 175, there's a decision to be made, that, and you can base that on your confidence levels, and just that sometimes I've got no issue with just people just being a little bit aggressive and see what comes of it, because generally it can work out quite nicely. But from this situation, it's not going to be the one. No,
looking down there, you know, those bunkers are just screaming danger, aren't they? And there's a group of friends that I play with, and there's a few holes at Warrington, and the 8th in particular, where we've got a bunker in front of the green. They can't get up on it, and the amount of times it's just 7 wood or 5 wood, bing, oh, why is it in the trap? And you think, well, you do it every week. Why aren't you changing your strategy? And that's what we've got to do here now. We've got to think, well, getting on the green in 2, like Andy said, 200 yards, it's out of the question. It's not a shot that we're going to do. And even if you did manage to get it up and over, it's coming in fiery and it's chasing through. So for us, it's now putting us into a position where we can approach the flag with ease, maybe take a little bit out of the bunker out, but plotting our way down the hole to make it as stress-free as anything. So as we look here, this bunker on the left, I know that would actually scare a few people from this position. Thinking, you know, I might just catch that. Where the flag is actually on the left-hand side of the green, so we can go more out to the right. The bunker is actually at 150 to get to it. If we play to the right-hand side of the bunker, we can go about 140, and then the second shot will come in back in across the green. We've got a bigger landing area, instead of just thinking, well, I'll go forwards because I'm not going near the green, and then leave ourselves with a harder shot. So even again, now we've got to draw that circle. It might get a little bit smaller, but think of this hitting zone that you're going to go. So if I was your caddy or coach here, I'd be saying,
which you are,
yeah, we're going to get right at the, you know, forget the green, we're not going at it. Don't be still looking at the flag, because that's not the target. Our new green, as it were, would be sort of 45 degrees from the actual green.
Yeah, I do like that. So on some courses, the rough, like even for today, for example, it's not crazy thick, so there's no issue with really being in the rough. Sometimes it makes the next shot a little bit easy. You've got a bit of space under the ball. You're not worried about the tight lie of a fairway. And
nice little cushion.
Yes, a nice little cushion for the strike. Also, as well, when you know you're laying up, sometimes you just look at that and go, oh, I've got loads of space. But like Matt said, make the circle smaller and a little bit more specific.
Right, pitching wedge.
I've got a little pitching wedge, so I'm going to try and hit it about slightly downwind as well. So it's a little 3/4 one. Hit it down there about 140, so I'm definitely not going to bring the bunker into play. I'm going for the patch of light grass to the right edge of the bunker. It will kick left off the mounds anyway, but at least I'm trying to get to that side.
That, I would say, is A1 Andrew.
Yeah.
The perfect layup, just trickled through the fairway into a little bit of semi, but taken all the trouble out, and it's again stress-free.
So again, the club I've used is irrelevant. It's more about getting to that yardage, picking your point. Now the third shot should be a lot easier.
Pitch, and you know, 5's a good score for us on here today,
and the 4's still on the cards.
Exactly.
Decent layup. Nice fluffy lie in the rough to the side of the fairway. 66 yards to the flag.
Yeah, and this is where I see a lot of amateurs sort of come unstuck. You've done all the hard work of getting down this far, and then it's like, oh well, I'm just near the green now, I'll just flick something on. See that the most lofted wedge is generally taken from here. Maybe a misstrike comes into play, and an underestimation of how far the ball's going to travel. One bounce, no real run to it, and we've got a 50-footer, 60-footer, maybe even shy of the green. So for me, I talk to my students a lot about the journey. What journey is this ball going to take up to that flag? How do I see it flying, and how do I see it rolling? Because a lot of, like I say, a lot of amateurs, most lofted club, and just try and whack it at the flag, and there's no real plan to it. So we've just zapped it there. What was it, 66 flag and 50 front?
50 front.
We are downwind a little bit. We're coming out of rough here. So again, it's time for that circle. This is going to be a landing zone now, and then you've got to equate for a little bit of run here. I would say if we can get this inside 30 foot, 40 foot as an amateur, Bob's your uncle, because then hopefully we can two-putt from there.
That's the aim, isn't it? Getting into a point where it's two-putt range.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I think the more you're in this situation, the better you get at doing it, which is when the pars start to kind of come in as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, you want to be, maybe have a little walk, just have a quick check of what if there's no surprise on the other side of this bunker. But generally, downwind out of the rough to a 66 flag. 50 is a really good landing area. So the circle that Matt was talking about before gets smaller. And now we're going to maybe even just keep it to the right side of the flag to try and avoid this bunker as well. Difficult in terms of, obviously, if you catch it a little bit heavy, then the bunker is very much in place. So that will always be in a golfer's mind.
Yeah.
So
I think again that's where that sort of landing spot comes in again, because we're so focused on where we're landing it, as where most amateurs would stand here and think, don't duff it into the bunker, don't hit it in the bunker, don't, as where you plan that little journey, you put that circle on the green where you're going to land it, your focus becomes laser on that, and you've got a good positive image in your head then.
And then there's also trusting the actual club. So if you have gone sand wedge or lob wedge or from this sort of distance pitching wedge or whatever, it's not then trying to think, oh, if I hit it up even higher, it'll stop dead. So I was teaching the guys yesterday, you had the sand wedge out from 50 yards, ball forward in the stance, which is dangerous.
Yeah. Off
a fairway, more dangerous. Trying to get it up. He goes, yes, sometimes when it works, it looks amazing. I'm like, that's probably 2 or 3 out of 10 because it's such a difficult shot. Trust the loft on the club and just keep the technique as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So ball position with this would be central. Narrow, slightly narrower stance. Ball is slightly above my feet, so you could grip down if again for comfort, but weight slightly on this left-hand side to get the compression into the ball, and then trust it.
Oh, he's played a beauty.
It's landed around about 50 yards.
There.
Look at that. Sit. That is a strong wind, by the way. Yeah.
But you've done the job, haven't you? Taking the bunker out of play. We're safely on the dance floor, and we're just building this score as we go along. A lot of people would have possibly, cocked up on the first shot and the second shot, not by following those little bits of instruction. So let's get you down there and let's two-putt.
Let's see if we can.
Let's hope you two-putt. Safely on the green, Andrew.
Oh, wow, yes. I mean, to be honest, that is very wind affected because the ball looked like it landed very much on the front edge.
Yeah.
Slightly downslope, obviously a bit of rough, but then it's just taken off by the wind. But we're on the green, and I think we're in two-putt range.
I think, yeah, and this is where a lot of amateurs sort of like undo all the hard work as well, this distance putt. One of the big issues that I see from a lot of players is the tempo of the stroke. So we see dramatic differences from like backswing into impact. We get the player who's so focused on making sure everything's going right and it goes back slow, and then it's, oh, I'll try and hit through it to save it. Or we've got vice versa, the player who's really quick back and then thinks, oh God, that's going to go miles, I'll stop.
We've all been there.
I had a great analogy given to me by Luke Donald when we played with him the other week, and he was saying about a hammer and a nail. If you think about hammering a nail into a wall, you would load the hammer with pace and just sort of pop it in. You wouldn't go slow and then try and hit through the wall, or vice versa, go quick and tap it. It was, imagine just tapping that nail in. So when you get in,
I like it, Luke.
And you think about your putting stroke, then you load the pace and just pop it off. Load it and pop instead of
load and pop
this way, or quitting. You just and a slightly more abbreviated finish at the end as you go through it. So I think that's a great way.
The shortened follow through. I do like the short.
Yeah, just sort of like carry that pace into it instead of like
control of the face, then, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, and you just, for me, then that's going to help you with your stroke here. And you think about that tempo. We're not too worried about line. We want to look at line, obviously.
Yeah.
But the pace control is most important here. We've got the wind pushing back at us, which is going to help. But if we didn't have any wind, again, it would be all about just getting it up over this slope and letting it die towards here. We're not going to hole it. If we do, it's a real bonus, but we just want to try and get it as close as possible. And the best way we can do that is a good strike by controlling that pace of stroke.
And that's that circle we've been talking about from start to finish has got even smaller now. So we've got it on like a 3 foot radius.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Matt said, look, pick a line. So I would always say, I would just say pick a side.
Yeah, got to have a line.
It's going to move from this distance. So pick a side. It's looking like right to left.
Yeah, a couple of feet outside the right. But then as you get into this now, I'd just be solely focused on that feeling of hammering the nail.
Yes, and now it's all pace, all pace. So what I do from this sort of distance, and obviously being the best golfer on YouTube and best putter on YouTube, is I try and get as visual as possible. That's probably one of the hardest things to do for most golfers, is to be visual and to understand what they're from what they're seeing to be able to do. So I rather than just looking down and doing the stroke, I'm looking up at the target. I'm looking just to the right of the hole, and I'm just imagining my stroke to that distance, just to try and give me some sort of feel, because unlike the rest of the game, you can't say, you know, a 7-iron might go 150, you don't know how hard to really hit this putt. It's a good guess, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All to do with your feel.
It's a good educated guess. Let's see how educated I am.
Come on, inside that circle for us.
Needs to hit the slope.
Just caught up, that wind snagged it more than I would have thought there.
That is windy.
Windy.
Right, so it was a poor first putt. In the grand scheme of things, we've still got 3, 6, got about 8 feet left for my bogey. Uphill, into wind, into grain, but then all you could see after the slope here was kind of downhill. But it's hard to then to kind of adapt to the wind as well. So
yeah,
we're in a tricky spot now.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you take the wind out of play, that third shot in would have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, that's just a little bit of time, and I think one of the areas that probably amateurs don't spend a lot of time on is that long distance putting. We'll go to the putting green before a round of golf maybe and hit a few putts from this range and hold them and make ourselves feel good. But if I'm firing them off the green the other side, I think, oh God, I don't want to do that on the course. I'll stop this quickly.
Yeah. Get back to 2 foot.
So just training that feel, like I said, that analogy of the hammer and nail. If you just go, and even if it's in your, you know, your lounge or your hallway that you've got a bit of carpet on and you're putting from one end to the other, you're just focusing on surely that pace, because that's where the 3-putt comes in. It's not like missing that short one, it's because you've left yourself too much work to do after the first putt. So that pace putting is a huge thing that we can really do to knock off big strokes off the card.
Also as well, in this instance, this is stroke index 5, so the majority of golfers do have a shot at it. So if you make 6, it's only the equivalent of me and you making bogey.
Yeah, it's not the worst in the world.
It's not the end of the world. You've still made a net bogey. So.
Yeah, and obviously, like, score in this video isn't the most imperative thing. If you can piece these pictures, these parts together that we've talked about, over time you should start to see your scores coming down. Oh, he went for it. He thought he'd make a 7 on video just in case.
We're going to make an 8.
Yeah. But oh, he's followed it up. He's followed it up. No pressure from the lad there.
We're just teasing. Teasing. Right, so hopefully you've picked up some really good tips there from Matt. Matt, thanks very much for coming onto the channel to deliver your expertise and your wisdom to the audience. Guys, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Links are in the description below, and we'll see you again very soon.
Cheers.